Hey everyone, my name is Danielle Matthews. I am so excited to share with you all a little bit about buying behavior and different personality types. I think each of us, we make purchases for different reasons. And if we're explaining to a friend why we bought something and giving them the logic or the emotion behind it, a lot of times they can relate with what we're talking about because like people tend to hang out with like people. But you might have noticed as you got into your Asea business, or if you've ever been in sales before, you might give the same logic, the same reasoning, the same emotion, and someone might just, they don't get it. They kind of get a glazed look on their face as you start talking, or they go, oh, that's nice, not for me. And you realize you've missed it. You haven't connected with them. And so what I want to share with you all today is that there are actually 4 different personality types, and you will miss it if you're not talking exactly to their bottom line. What do they really care about? And so I want to share with you all what the different personality types are, how you can identify them easily so that in your Asea business, you can speak to them correctly, you can sell to them correctly, and you can talk about what matters to them. So let's dive right in. Why does this matter? I think that you will find at the end of this will be something that will allow you to take charge of your business in a very different way. This is something you can play with, that you can have fun with. It's going to allow you to know how to approach each and every situation, every prospect that you talk to. And you're going to be able to support your people on a whole different level. So let's dive into the first personality type. These people are typically decisive. They can be very direct. They're independent. They're described as being competitive, dominant, results-oriented. They're leaders. They're more formal. Sometimes they can be a bit defiant. The underlying word for them when you want to speak to these people, talk about results. You might know these as the Reds. If you've learned the personality types as animals, these are your lions. They make up 10% of the population. The word I'm going to use to describe them is director. All right, so our directors love results. Next personality type, they love to laugh. They're very interactive. They're super friendly, enthusiastic, inspiring, spontaneous. They're a bit more informal. They can be emotional, sometimes a little illogical. Underlying word for them, you want to talk about fun. These are your blues. If you know the different animals, you've probably heard of them described as the dolphins, right? I think it's a perfect animal. Super interactive, very playful. They make up actually 30% of the population. And we're going to talk about them as promoters. So for a promoter, you want to talk about fun. Now we have the personality type that's a bit more analytical. They're calculating, they're more logical, they're thinkers, they're cautious. They can be described as knowledge seekers. They can be very witty, formal, and sometimes come across as unemotional. For them, what you really want to hone in and talk about, details. That's what they care about. That's where you want to be ready to give them all the details. These are your greens. If there was an animal that we would use to describe them, this is a sea urchin. And they're kind of spiky, right? It can be a little uncomfortable to deal with somebody that's like this because they're always asking questions. They always want to know why. They always want to go further. These people, 25% of the population, a quarter of us, are analyzers. That's the word that I use to describe these guys. So remember, your analyzers, they love details. All right, our final personality group. The characteristics that they have, they're givers. They're very supportive. They're steady. They're diplomatic. They're more informal. They're service-oriented. They're very authentic, nurturing. Sometimes they can be a bit quiet. The underlying word for them, team. Talk about team. These are your yellows. The animal that I hear often used to describe them, these are your whales, which I think is so perfect, right? They want to save the world. They have the biggest hearts. They want to save the whales. They actually are the largest subset. 35% of the population falls in this category. They're your caregivers, all right? They care about the team. So this is a quadrant that I'm using to kind of help you map this out. We have our directors that want results, our promoters that love to have fun. We have our analyzers that really want the details. And then we have our caregivers that want to talk about the team. They care about the team. So now that we know the 4 personality types, how do we easily identify the personality type of someone? There's a very simple question a mentor of mine, well, 2 questions, a mentor of mine taught me one time. He said, Danielle, if you know somebody, think about these 2 questions. The first thing is, do they act first or do they think first? What do they tend towards? If they tend towards action, they're going to be either a director or a promoter. If they tend to think first, they are probably an analyzer or caregiver. That's the personality trait that's probably most dominant in them. So do they act or do they think? The second question, do they tend towards people and wanting to interact with people, caring about people, or do they tend towards the numbers, the bottom line, the results? If they tend towards people, well, they're likely a promoter or a caregiver. If they tend to like the bottom line, the numbers, right, they're probably a director or an analyzer. I mean, just think about the words we use to describe them, right? Results and details. They like the numbers. So let's dive into this a bit more. Let's look at our directors. They get into action and they like the numbers. So if you don't know the person, maybe you're just sitting down to meet them for a cup of coffee, or you're getting on the phone with a prospect, there's no way for you to be able to answer these two questions about them. There are some things, some typical characteristics that these personality types have. And I mean, no offense, if you are a director and I say something that's not true for you, this is kind of just in a whole, as a group, what we can use to pick up on, is this person a director? When you first meet them, they're very formal in their greeting, and they will usually introduce themselves. They'll assert themselves. If you go into a group, they're probably leading the conversation. They will take charge in a group situation. They dress more conservatively. They actually have a lot of name brand awareness. They love to-do lists and crossing things off their to-do list. They value titles. They value credentials. They value tradition. If you were to go into their home, so this can be a key indicator, just looking around someone's home. The house is usually clean and organized. Their furniture matches all together. Their bedspread probably matches the drapes that are in their room, and their yard is meticulous. When you come inside, they will probably ask you to take your shoes off because they want to keep things clean. So in our organization, in Asea, our founder, Tyler Norton, he is a director. That is his dominant personality type. Many of you know Denny Robinson. She is also a director. Terry Latham is another name that many of us know well. So if you think about this personality type, you think about these three people that we know well in our organization, they are directors. Now, they're action-oriented, they love the numbers. Let's go over now and talk about the action-oriented that love people. So our promoters, how can we recognize them? Well, they have more informal greetings. They might even high-five you. Key indicator right there. They try to make people laugh. If you go into a group setting, they're the one telling jokes. They usually wear bright clothing, big jewelry, right? Like the statement pieces, bling, that's them. These are promoters. Sometimes they struggle to be on time, and they can speak without thinking sometimes. It just comes right out. If you were in their house, you will likely see pictures of them on different adventures. If they have awards, they're likely up and on display. Their house and car and desk can tend to be more disorganized, and they have a hard time finding things. But they do have a lot of nice things. These are the types of people that are drawn towards motorcycles and snowmobiles, right? They like to have fun. So in our organization, the person that comes to mind first and foremost is Cindy Buck. If you have ever been to a convention, the last night when we have our party, it's always a theme. She comes in costume. She comes ready to have fun. So this is Cindy Buck, and I just pulled several of her outfits from various conventions because I just thought, oh, she epitomizes the promoter personality, all about the fun. My upline, Dr. David Silverman, is also 100% a promoter. This is his dominant personality type. He absolutely loves to have fun. And then our number one income earner, Trish Schwinkler. I got on her Facebook. What do I see? This photo, right? This woman absolutely loves to have fun. She is a big promoter as well. So let's move down to the second half. All right, the ones that tend to think before they act. So let's talk about our analyzers. They like to think first, and they like the numbers, right? They want the details. How can we recognize these people? Well, when you first meet them, typically analyzers will wait for you to make the first move. They tend to be a bit more reserved and more to themselves. They tend to have a neutral face expression. You might not know exactly what they're thinking or if they're having a good time or not. They tend to think before and as they are talking. They strive for perfection. They tend to not break the rules. If you go to their house, likely their home has furniture from every decade that doesn't match, and their wardrobe is probably outdated as well. Their home does not have a lot of people pictures. If you were to look around the walls of someone that's an analyzer, you're going to see mostly inanimate objects. That's the type of thing that they're going to decorate their home with. Their desk might look disorganized to someone because they probably have lots of stacks. They're stacks, they're pile people, right? But it's organized chaos. They know absolutely where everything is. So who are analyzers in our Asea family? Well, some of you might know Scott. He's our COO, right? Our Chief Operations Officer. He needs to be an analyzer. We need someone that is detail-oriented, right? Running our production facility, making sure things get shipped out to countries, keeping our warehouses stocked correctly. That's Scott. Bob Schwinkler. So interestingly enough, couples, and you might think you found yourself in one of these personality types, if you have a spouse, your spouse tends to be like the opposite. So Trish Schwinkler, right? She's the promoter, the action-oriented people person. Her husband is the opposite. Bob is more so the thinker. He likes the numbers. He's behind the scenes. Interestingly enough, Bo Buck, Cindy's husband, is the same way. He is also in the analyzer personality. He tends to think first, tends to like the numbers. So let's get into our last group. All right, we just talked about the ones that think and like the numbers. Now let's talk about our thinkers that absolutely love people, right? They care for their people, their teams. How can you recognize them? Well, usually they have a warm, friendly smile. They're soft-spoken, and they tend to wait for you to introduce yourself to them, right? They can be more timid and more quiet. They are the first to volunteer, right, to help. And what's wonderful about them, they will finish what they start. You can depend on them. If you're looking at what clothes somebody is wearing, these people tend to dress comfortably. So that might be an indicator for you when you meet them. They think before they speak also. They tend to avoid conflict. They are not a fan of sarcasm. And they like to include other people, right? They want everyone to be friends and they want to be your friend. If you go to their house, these are the types of people that have plants everywhere. They have animals. Their fridge is full of magnets. It looks very lived in. And probably when you get there, they're going to offer you food, offer you drink as soon as you arrive. If they do have animals, 100% those animals are like part of the family. They are absolutely a family member. So we think about our Asea team. I think number one, when you think about corporate, Kim Marie Larson, right? She runs our Advancing Life Foundation, which of course is all heart, right? That's part of our mission, our nonprofit to help the world and make an impact. She absolutely is a caregiver. Then we have Terry Malmid, and I just had a smile because she sent me a photo with her dog because her dog is part of the family. And then actually our CEO, Chuck Funky, this is his predominant personality type, is the caregiver personality type. So kind of fun to see how everybody ranges on the personality quadrants. And I think the easiest way, a friend of mine shared this one with me one time. He said, look, the best way to think about personality types, if you were moving and you had your neighbors coming over to your house to help you move, the director is that neighbor that is directing everyone what room to go into and telling everybody what to do so we can get the job done. All right? The promoter is laughing over in the corner about something. The analyzer, they're the ones out in the truck already. They are playing Tetris. They're going to get everything to fit in there absolutely perfectly. And your caregiver, you want these guys. They're the ones sweating, breaking their backs, moving things, and they will be there until absolutely everything is finished. So that's an easy way to think about the different personality types. But let's zero in now and talk about how do I actually sell, right? So we can apply this to our Asea business. How do I sell to a director? Well, something you need to know about them is they make a buying decision in 10 to 20 minutes. They are fast, right? Bottom line, you need to give them the bullet points and you need to get to the point when you're talking with the director. You want to be fast. You want to be very sure of yourself. You want to give clear options to them. Do not complicate this. And you want to mention things like there's a slow startup cost and there's a system for success in our business. So if we're talking about Asea specifically in the network marketing industry, talk about being your own boss. That is music to their ears, right? They're born leaders. If you're talking about our company specifically, talk about how it's a 10-year-old company with a very strong foundation that is just starting to move into the momentum phase. They do not want to be left behind. They don't want to be the last one to the party. They want to be at the front of the pack. So it's exciting for them to know momentum is just starting to happen. All right, and the product. Biggest breakthrough we will see in our lifetime. All right, that is something that will give them chills, right? That will get them very excited. So what resources can we use from our plethora of resources at Asea? Well, they want to know the income disclosure statement, right? Bottom line, how much money can you make? And they want to know what's the top income earner earning, because they're going to go after that person. All right, you want to give them the comp plan, but not the detailed comp plan. You want to give them the bullet points, right? You want to give them the summary comp plan so they can kind of get an overview and understanding of the 8 different ways that they can get paid in Asea. All right, so those are our directors. Let's look now at our promoters. How can I sell to the promoter? Well, you need to know one thing. They make a buying decision in about 24 hours. You need to follow up with the promoter because they will be off to the next shiny object. They'll have forgotten about your conversation. You have got to stay on top of them. All right, things you need to know: be excited. You want to be prompt and responsive. Don't keep them waiting. Get to the bottom line. They don't need too many details. Discuss the fun, right? Discuss the opportunity to connect with people. That will excite them. You can mention things like freedom and variety and finding their passion. All right, what resources can we use? Well, first of all, let's talk about if we're going to be specific about network marketing. All right, if we're talking to a promoter about network marketing, well, I'm going to say things like you can work how you want, when you want, with whom you want. That's exciting for them. If we talk about this company, you're going to say, look, it's a global company. So you'll have fun connecting with and meeting people all around the world. We're open in over 30 markets. The product, we are on the cutting edge of the next trend in health. That's fun. That's exciting. They want to be part of the cutting edge. So when we think about our Asea toolbox, well, you need to talk about the trips, okay? Talk about the Ascend trip and that they can earn it. Talk about Diamond Life and all the perks when they get to Diamond Life. Talk about convention and the party that we get to have and how much fun it is that we all get together and we celebrate once a year. They love that stuff. They feed on that. Now our analyzers, let's go to the exact opposite. Our analyzers, well, how do we sell to them? A buying decision for an analyzer is definitely no more than 48 hours because they need to go through all the details. But what I found in Asea is that it's really no less than a week, okay? Because this is a new frontier, right? It's a new technology. They want to look into a lot of things and they want all the details. So typically they're not going to make a decision for at least a week. You now need to be ready, right? You need to have your details ready. You need to be accurate with your information. That is key for them. You need to not be emotional. They don't care about the emotional piece. Testimonials, hearsay, show me the data, right? You need to get them the answer to a question if you don't know it, okay? They don't want you to guess, and that will just make you lose your credibility. They would rather you say, you know what, good question, I don't know, we'll get the answer, than to give them something that is not true or you think might be true. Use logic, right? Give them logical thinking. Mention the ability to gain more knowledge through being part of Asea, since we are on a new frontier. Now, if we're talking about network marketing, talk to them about the fact that there is little risk and investment to get started in a global business, right? It's logical, it's a no-brainer, one of the best investments you can make for a global business. The company has doubled sales in the last 2 years. They have proven results with the product in the lab time and time again, and it's patent protected, so there are no competitors in the marketplace. They want the details, right? The product, well, this is a safe product with no toxicity or contraindications that everyone can benefit from using. If we are thinking about the resources we need to have on the ready for our analyzers, guys, but like the Tourette lab study, the gene study, they don't want the summary, they want the details. Make sure you give them the detailed version of it. Which genes were studied that got turned on? All right, the safety information. They want to read the safety data that we have. They don't just want to trust that it's safe. They want to see that it's safe. Did you all know that this terms and conditions document exists? If you did, you might be an analyzer because you probably read through the whole thing. If you didn't, this is someone that's going to want to read this. They're going to want to know the fine print. And when it comes to compensation, you had better believe they don't want the summary. They want the detailed version. These people are probably going to teach you things that you did not know about the compensation plan because they're going to get into the minutia. All right, our last personality type, our caregivers. Our caregivers, well, you know what? They are going to make a buying decision in about 3 to 5 days, unless you connect with them emotionally. If they say, wow, this was meant to come into my path, or I really resonate with you in this message and what you're saying, if you connect emotionally with these people, it's quick. Otherwise, they take 3 to 5 days. Give them time, don't push them, you'll lose them. You wanna be kind and supportive with any questions that they have. You wanna be very authentic. If you can compliment them, please make sure you compliment them. You wanna be patient. Like I said, do not rush or push the sale because they will walk away. You will shut them down and they will leave. You wanna mention people. You wanna mention personal growth and the ethos of our company. That will really resonate with these people. So when you're talking about the network marketing industry, you can talk about how we change the lives and how they have the opportunity to change the lives of their friends, their family, and their community. When talking about our company, right, you are aligning with a company whose mission statement is to better people's lives and be a force for good in the world. That will resonate in a big way with the heart of your caregiver. The product, well, you can help your loved ones recapture and maintain their optimum health. What a fabulous thing to be a part of. Now, resources. Testimonials. You want to share the stories with these people. That will resonate with them so much. The Advancing Life Foundation, talk about our nonprofit, talk about the impact we're having in the world outside of our incredible product and technology. So at the beginning, I told you that learning these personality types would help you take charge in your business. That was for my directors out there. That statement was directed right at you. Bottom line, results. That's what it's going to help you do. You're going to be able to play with it, have fun with it. My promoters, this is why I thought you would enjoy this comment. It's all about having fun and playing with this with your teams and your family. You're going to connect with them more. My analyzers, guess what? Now you know how to approach each and every situation. And then my caregivers, you can support your people now on a brand new type of level, the level that they need, and will connect with them the most. So I just want to end with this. I did create a PDF where you can have all of this in one, where it shows you how you can identify the different personality types, how to sell to them, when talking Asea, comments that you can make about Asea, and then also the resources that we have for each of these personality types. And just remember, guys, knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. And so in order for this to actually make an impact, it's one thing to know it. It's one thing to learn what type of personality you are. It is a completely different thing for you to be able to go out there and apply this in your business. So I have a challenge for you. I want you to profile 10 people a day for the next week. And if you really want to hone this skill, I want you to do that for the next month. I think if you do that, you will find that this is going to help your business in a big, big way. So thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation and can't wait to see it help your businesses and all the growth that you have.